Yes, my friends, this is another fine Taurus High Point production coming at you. What we're talking about today, let me shut this fan off, is this Pietta. Okay, it's a sheriff's model. Some say it's Confederate because of the brass. Some say it's just a brass 44. And they weren't actually made by Colt, but it's a Colt replica. The 44 is put out by Pietta. Colt actually made the 36 caliber. This is a 44 caliber. I bought this at the table today because it's something I want to discuss about it. A lot of my friends and compatriots out there who actually, like me, have these things say it's a real bear getting them apart and putting them back together. Okay? I am going to go with the first few easiest here. Barrel pulls off. You move into half cock. Of course, prior to filming and all of that, I made sure she was unloaded. Okay. The gun safety is the responsibility of the person handling the gun. If you're handling the gun and shoot yourself, you can't blame me. Alright. Now, here is the part where everybody, well, I'm not saying here is the part, but here is what is suggested. My friends and other compatriots and folks who follow these things and use these things, where their chief complaint is on problem. Okay? Now, I ran into this kind of by accident by watching another guy on YouTube, and his suggestion was the same as everybody else when it comes to getting these things back together again. Oh, I just took out the wrong 3, didn't I? Yes, sir, Charlie, but I know what 3 they go to. Let me separate them from the other batch. Not technically the wrong 3. Those 3 got to come out anyway. I believed I was taking it apart in a different order. And then we take these 2 out. There we go. These are great little shooters. Great for planking. Some run as high as 30 grains. Black powder, some run to 30 grains of pellet in it. This one being brass, and I know that brass is softer than steel, you can actually shoot them loose, which means you stretch this brass here with the constant heating and reheating. Now here is the issue everybody has. Let me and everybody's like, oh my God, you just screwed up the screws. No. I can separate the screws out in the getting apart and getting them back together. I loosen up this mainspring a little bit, which allows me to slide it out. Okay? then I'm able to take the weapon apart. And okay, and of course everybody's going, okay, wise man, get it back together, because it's a bear getting it back together. And I say, yes sir, you're right. You're absolutely right there. Let me see what I got going on here. That's my grip. I do that because it allows me to keep the two screws separated. I know which two screws I have where. I'm going to take this, we're just going to go ahead and lay it over. Get her lined up. I know. Everybody and their cousins yelling at me. Jumping up and down right about now. You can't do that. Well, watch me. Okay. Now the hammer spring is still loose. That's the one everybody has a problem with. They're trying to hold these two pieces together and start one of these screws. Well, as I got to fooling around and playing around today, you two folks, give it a couple of turns. While the grip frame is being held together by the screw, go ahead and drive that one in. Yeah, ta 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 ta. Hey Mo, hey Larry. Hey, wait a minute. He's not trying to hold that force, and he's only holding that with a thumb and forefinger. What's going on? Well, for those of you that just joined in and missed the first part, I went ahead and started this screw over here first, slid my hammer spring into place, and then I'm going ahead and putting this bottom down. I am not sitting there trying to manhandle and squeeze these things together. I'll be honest, it's probably the old man in me that's doing that. Or maybe the smarter guy after a couple attempts of doing this and then watching somebody else do it and watching what he did. He was doing it the same way I was. Grabbing here, squeezing, trying to start this screw. Oh my Lord. And you come back over here. Da, 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 da. Now, here is where it can get tricky for you. Because you'll be sitting there all lollygagging, laughing, thinking about how easy this was. And getting this all back together, that you forget to do three things. 1, double check all three of these screws and make sure they're tight. Okay. 2, come over here, grab your hammer, go to half cock, go to full cock to see if it works. Let it down, make sure it works. Okay. And 3, the third thing you're almost always going to forget, like me, I've done it, that rear screw. Because you're lollygagging, laughing, and going, my God, that was easier than trying to crush all them pieces together with my bare hands. Why didn't we think of that earlier? I did that myself. That's why I shot this video. I figured all of us needed to see that after I discovered it. Somebody else may have a video of it out there. I haven't seen it. But it sure beats sliding that mainspring over. Sure beats trying to hold all this stuff together. Okay. And start one screw. If you go ahead and start one screw, let it hold, and then slide your mainspring over. Just as long as you remember to double check and tighten down, I see no issues with it. She shoots. She does well. And while I go ahead and get all of this back together, that's a wrap.